family is a patent place, my mother used to say. We can modify that, of course. Every life is a patent place. Most lives, in fact, are patent places without resolution. Caron Rand, keenly aware of the patent place of her life from an early age, decided to do something about it. As an artist, she had a way out, you might say. She might say that in visual expression, in the conjuration of images that befit her sense of the world, she could give voice to her inner voice. She could express loudly what had been brewing inside her for years. This is the result. These new and recent works by Caron Rand are figures of meditation and expiations of experience and behavior. They act almost like one person's shrine full of tankas in the Tibetan Buddhist sense. Images of pain, of release, of expulsion, of purification, and of solution and rest. They don't tell us a story, but they put us through a process, a sequence, experiences of pain and transcendence. There is a humorous aspect to these as well, a witty kind of self-distancing from the very pain, the very confusion, the very forces of dissonance that brought them about in the first place. It wants to bring these factors of pain to the surface and to exercise them with laughter. They are pretty funny if you take them in a spirit of Halloween or Dios de los Muertos and pull them out of the commercialization of those holidays. These are not exercises in fatuousness, anything but. They're very serious attempts for the artist to purge herself of what remains from the painful episodes in her life. But she wants to address this with these painful aspects, these shadows in her life, in her past, these psychological weights, the baggage that, like any human being, she travels through the world bearing. But in Caron's case, she wants not to cure herself, but to lighten herself of this baggage. She wants to unpack it, examine it, and put it back where it does the least harm anymore. I'm here with Caron in the exhibition. The first question that occurs to me immediately is, why these forms? Why this spirit?
The title of the show is Undertow, and in life, the more we live, the more undertows we experience, and often they are unexpected, unplanned, and it's up to us to get through them and to rise up. So there's a lot of ocean themes in here. Octopus, there's also creatures that I've just created that I think that would live in the ocean. There is myself that is being represented as this crucified female and screaming with the dress of roots, being planted and uprooted and replanted, because that's also another aspect of the undertows we go through in life, massive changes. I start with black because I almost died of carbon monoxide and gas poisoning, and I literally have black spots from the damage of the lack of oxygen and gas in my MRI brain scan it showed. There's that aspect, plus dealing with my mother's Alzheimer's and dementia, which was another undertow in my life because she was a very brilliant woman. And to watch her brain definitely went through an undertow, and from that she did not return. So that represented by the left and the right, the gold dots going through the left and the right hemispheres of the brain. There's pain in all of these, but there's also aspects of hope, redemption. Love is often written in these, hidden, whether it's kanji or Hebrew or Arabic or Oromo, because love, I find in my personal life, whether it's through friends or even strangers, when you go through undertows, gets you through often, just people's kindness and love. Another aspect of my work is duality, and so when we think about horns, often we think of demonic, and I love the fact that in nature, the horns are for strength and protection, so that's why I have them on my head. And there's that duality aspect, because you could first see it and think, oh, it's demons, and then upon reflection, it's strength and protection.
Well, we associate horns with the Vikings, and Vikings wearing them instill fear in their enemies. But to the Vikings themselves, they represent the unity and focused power.
I love that. That's true. I like that. The unity and focused power. It's great.
Well, it all depends on who's looking at them.
Yeah.
And who's looking at the supposedly demonic image, who's looking at the divisions, who's looking at the reflections, who's looking at the inversions.